The NBA Summer League first team was announced on July 21st. 5 names: Cameron Boozer, Caleb Wilson, Braden Berries, Yaxel Lindeborg, and Meleek Thomas. 2 of them were top 5 picks. One went 10th, one went 11th. Thomas was 34th, the only player on that list drafted outside the lottery. He wasn't even supposed to be here. Think about that for a second. The Summer League first team is supposed to represent the best young talent in the NBA, the guys who are going to be the future of the league. And the best scorer among them was a second-round pick. Not the number 1 pick, not a lottery pick, not even a first-round pick. A second-round pick who outplayed everyone else in Las Vegas. Yaxel Lindeborg won MVP. And the first team was stacked with lottery picks. But the guy who led the entire Summer League in scoring was the last name on that list. Meleek Thomas, the 34th pick. And no one saw it coming. The Summer League is where first-round picks go to show they belong. It's where lottery picks go to prove they were worth the investment. It's where second-round picks go to prove they should have been drafted higher. Thomas did more than that. He proved he should have been a lottery pick. And he did it by outscoring everyone in the building. 4 games, 27.3 points per game, 50% from the field, 43.8% from 3, 3.8 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 2 steals. He scored 20 or more in every single game. Not just 1 game, not 2. Every single game. That's not a hot streak. That's consistency. That's a player who belongs. And it's not like he was just chucking up shots on a bad team. He was efficient. He was making plays for others. He was playing defense. He was doing everything you want to see from a young guard. And he was doing it against players who were drafted ahead of him. Now compare that to the number 1 pick. Dybantsa averaged 25 points in 2 games, but he shot 39.4% from the field, and he made just 1 of his 11 three-point attempts, 9.1%. Per The Athletic, the Wizards shut him down after 2 games, along with their other prospects Trey Johnson and Will Riley, to manage their workloads. The number 1 pick was done. The 34th pick was just getting started. That's the irony of Summer League. The players who are supposed to be the future get protected, they get rested, they get shut down after a few games. The players who have something to prove keep playing, they keep scoring, they keep showing everyone what they can do. Thomas scored 20 in his debut, then 30, then 35. In his first 3 games, he scored 85 total points, the most by any Summer League player in that span in recent memory. This wasn't a hot streak, this was a statement. He wasn't just scoring against bench players, he was scoring against lottery picks. He was scoring against guys who were drafted ahead of him. He was scoring against guys who were supposed to be better than him, and he was making it look easy. Let's put those numbers in perspective. Thomas averaged 27.3 points per game. That's the 3rd highest scoring average in Summer League history. Marcus Banks scored 40 in his only game. Donovan Mitchell averaged 28 points in 2 games. But Thomas is the only player on that list who played 4 games and still averaged over 27 points. That consistency makes it even more impressive. Think about the names on that list. Donovan Mitchell is a 4-time All-Star. He's one of the best scorers in the NBA. And Thomas came within a point of his Summer League scoring average while playing twice as many games. That's not a fluke. That's a player who can score at any level. Donovan Mitchell was the 13th pick in 2017. He came into Summer League and dominated. Now, 9 years later, Thomas is the only player who's come close to Mitchell's scoring average. And here's the twist. They're teammates now. The guy who set the standard is now the guy who'll be mentoring the only player who's ever approached it. That's the kind of story that makes you believe in basketball. The student becomes the teammate of the teacher. The player who chased a record now gets to learn from the guy who set it. And Mitchell knows what it's like to be overlooked. He was the 13th pick. He was supposed to be good, but not great. He proved everyone wrong. Now Thomas has the chance to do the same. So why did he fall? At Arkansas, Thomas played alongside Darius Acuff, the 7th overall pick in the 2026 draft. Acuff was the star, the top 10 guy, the one everyone was watching. Thomas was the other guard, the one who scored 15.6 points per game. But the spotlight went elsewhere. It's not that Thomas wasn't good in college. He was. He averaged 15.6 points per game. But the spotlight went elsewhere. Carmelo Anthony noticed. On his podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, Melo called Thomas the most impressive player in Summer League. Melo said the quiet part out loud. Thomas could have been a top 20 pick. He fell to 34 because of circumstance, and he used that as fuel. When a Hall of Famer says you're the most impressive player in Summer League, people listen. Melo has seen thousands of players. He's played against the best in the world. He knows what it takes to succeed in the NBA. And he saw something in Thomas that reminded him of the players who made it. Now let's imagine the alternative. What if Thomas had been drafted in the top 20? He wouldn't have played 4 Summer League games. He'd have been shut down after 2, like Dybantsa. He wouldn't have had the chance to show everyone what he could do. Being drafted 34th might have been the best thing that ever happened to him. It sounds crazy, but it's true. If Thomas had been a first-round pick, his Summer League would have been 2 games. 2 games of scoring. 2 games of proving himself. Then he would have been shut down to protect him for the regular season. Instead, he got 4 games. 4 games to show everyone what he could do. 4 games to put his name on the map. Here's the part nobody's talking about. Cleveland traded the 29th pick to Sacramento for the 34th, plus a 2032 second rounder. They moved down 5 spots, picked up an extra asset, and still got their guy. That's front office confidence. The Cavs could have just taken the 29th pick and drafted someone else. But they saw something in Thomas. They saw a player who was undervalued. A player who had slipped through the cracks. A player who could be special. So they traded down, got an extra pick, and still got their guy. That's not luck. That's scouting. Thomas signed a 4-year, $9.3 million contract. The first 3 years are guaranteed at $6.4 million. That's more guaranteed money than picks 26 through 30 received in this draft. A second-round pick is making more than first-round picks. That's how much Cleveland believes in him. Think about that. The 26th pick in the draft got less guaranteed money than a second-round pick. The 27th pick, the 28th, the 29th, the 30th, all first-round picks. All players who were supposed to be more valuable than Thomas. And they're all making less money than him. Because Cleveland bet on him. And they bet big. But here's the part that should give us all pause. Look at the name at the top of that all-time leaderboard. Marcus Banks. 1 game, 40 points, nearly 2 decades ago. He never averaged double figures in a single NBA season. He bounced around the league for 8 years, and his NBA career was over by 2011. Summer League scoring doesn't always translate. Sometimes it's just a player taking advantage of weaker competition. Sometimes it's a player who can't replicate that success against NBA-level defense. Sometimes it's a player who just got hot for a few games. Banks is a reminder that Summer League success doesn't guarantee NBA success. And in 2018, the Summer League scoring leader was Josh Hart, 24.2 points a game. Summer League MVP. He became a useful NBA rotation player. A good one, but not a star. Summer League is a sample size, not a prophecy. Hart is a valuable player. He's a guy every team would love to have. But he's not a star. He's not a franchise player. He's a role player. And that's okay. That's a good outcome for a player who was drafted in the first round. But Thomas is aiming higher. But here's why Thomas is different. He's not just scoring against smaller, slower defenders. He's creating his own shots. He's pulling up from deep. He's finishing through contact. Those skills translate. The question isn't whether he can score in Summer League. It's whether Cleveland will give him the minutes to do it in the regular season. Thomas has the tools. He has the confidence. He has the work ethic. The question is opportunity. Will he get enough minutes to show what he can do? Will he get enough touches to be effective? Will he get the chance to prove that Summer League wasn't a fluke? That's the real challenge. The Cavs have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Tyrese Proctor, Dennis Schroeder is on the trade block, and there's even talk of a LeBron reunion in Cleveland. That's a crowded backcourt, but Summer League showed what Thomas can do when given the keys. The question isn't whether he can score, it's whether he'll get the chance. The Cavs have a lot of guards. Mitchell is a star. Garland is a former All-Star. Proctor is a young player they're developing. Schroeder is a veteran who's been around. And if LeBron comes back, that's even more ball handlers. Where does Thomas fit? How does he get minutes? Who's he going to take minutes from? So what happens next? Thomas will compete for rotation minutes. He'll walk into training camp with more confidence than any 34th pick in recent memory. Because he already did what no one expected. He outplayed everyone. He outplayed the lottery picks. He outplayed the top 5 picks. He outplayed the number 1 pick. He was the best scorer in Summer League. And he did it as the 34th pick. That's not something you can fake. That's not something you can fluke. That's something you earn. The NBA spent a decade chasing shooters and ball handlers. And in the second round they found one who could score with the best of them. The question is, why did it take them so long to notice? The answer is simple. Because they weren't looking. They were looking at the lottery picks. They were looking at the stars. They were looking at the players who were supposed to be great, and they missed the player who actually was great. The player who outscored everyone. The player who proved he belonged. Where does Meleek Thomas finish in the Rookie of the Year race? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe, because this story is just getting started.